to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming to the Preble Town Board meeting of January 8th, 2018. Any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes of December 11th regular meeting or the December 27th year-end meeting?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes from December 11th regular meeting and December 27th, the year-end meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Jane?
Dog report, 1 dog adopted and 90 miles traveled for the town. Justice report, $22,145.50 submitted to the town for December.
Thanks, Jane. Highway report, Jeff?
Oh, yeah, got a fresh copy of the report. Basically, full winter mode, no cold weather, everything's running all right. And had a little issue with the fuel tank for a little bit, but found out what that was. Around the county, I wasn't the only guy having that problem when it was 7-8 degrees below for a couple days. So I'll give a garage report later on, Jim.
Okay, that would be fine. Thanks, Jeff. Recreation. Anyone here from Recreation? County Legislator Don Boyden is not here.
Zoning and code, December report, there were no building permits issued, 41 miles traveled for the town, 3 building inspections, 18 hours worked, 1 fire inspection, 9 complaint follow-ups, 12 telephone inquiries. Planning board meeting is January 24th at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. ZBA meeting is February 1st, 7:30 that's a Thursday.
Thanks, Jane. Historian and Henderson is not here. Okay.
We collected $186, dispersed $169 to the town of Preble and $17 to New York State Egg and Markets. And I also have any information on going to school.
Association of Towns puts on training for new members of the board. So anybody who's new can consider that. I highly recommend it. Unfinished business. We'll start with the highway garage. Jeff, can you give us a summary of what's going on right now?
Yeah, it's winding down. It's a little frustrating. The finish line is right in front of us, but get everything to pull together. Everybody's been fantastic on it. Our plumber's kind of fallen down on the job. So Paul Sheneman's been barking at him daily, but he just hasn't been back to finish it out. Just a matter of putting the fixtures in and pretty good shape. Electricians expect to be done Wednesday or Thursday this week. The boiler was fired up Friday morning, 10:30. Heating system's complete. Walk in now and throw a switch, the lights come on, as opposed to plugging extension cords in 2 weeks ago. So it's there. It's just that last push to the end. I called Verizon and Time Warner today to get things switched over there. Week or 10 days away. They're close.
Are you moving any equipment into the garage?
I talked to the GC with this super cold weather that we had, and we put the loader and the one little truck in the one day just to keep it warm because they're sitting outside and plugged in, so that helped us some. But it's I see it warm. It felt balmy this morning at 4 o'clock. But it's just in there. We're working with them, keeping it out of their way, but especially that cold snap is really nice to not have it rattle and bang when you first started it. Other than that, everything's coming. It's like I say, next month's report will be, I hope, very positive. And if anybody wants to after the meeting, you can go down and take a look at it.
Thanks, Jeff. Continuing on the topic of the highway garage, I talked to NBT Bank, and NBT Bank gave me a quotation and spec sheet on the financing that they're going to do for us. This is a bond anticipation note that would be 1 year in duration and no prepayment penalties. So we need to borrow $175,000, which is the same amount of money that is with the state right now that they promised us. I called about a month ago for a status of the state money, and it's working its way through the system, but these grants can take a long time. It can take months and months, sometimes even a year to finally get your money. And meanwhile, we have to pay bills before we get that money. So we can't wait on them. We have to secure some financing, and then we would pay back. We pay back this note when we get the money from the state. So that's the game plan. And so we need to make a motion to, Don, can you give us the wording on this?
Sure. And
give us
just
a little
a
background.
little bit of additional background. A year ago tomorrow, this board passed a bonding resolution. I've forgotten the number, but it was over 400,000.
450,000.
Then it went to the special election, and through the results of that special election, that bonding was finally approved, if you will. So your borrowing has been authorized. This is just a partial borrowing. I don't know if technically we even need a resolution, but I think for purposes of the record, to make it explicit that a bond anticipation note is being authorized by the town board in the amount as Jim mentioned, and pursuant to the spec sheet that he obtained from MBT, I think would be a good thing to have for the record. I would anticipate we could put this together in the next week or two, so you would have the funds available in short time period.
The interest rate is 2.35% over 1 year. So I need a motion from the board to go ahead and execute this agreement.
I'll move that we authorize the supervisor to enter into a bond anticipation note in the amount of $175,000 according to the term sheets provided to us tonight. I guess that's it. Right?
Okay, we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried? Okay. Don, you and I will work on this week.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it's just, I'm sure they're going to want you down there. And actually, Jane, there's a couple things that you need to sign too. On the
There would be two
paperwork.
signatures from NBC
So
Bank.
if you can,
Yeah.
we'll try and find a time that works for everyone. Plus, do you have a seal for the town?
Town seal?
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll need that, I think.
Yeah, so basically it costs us like $350 a month to have this once we take it. So, to the extent that we can, delay it until we actually need it, actually taking it out, and then pay it off obviously as quickly as we can.
Right. We don't need it this month.
Right.
Right.
That's,
Right. And then that's a good point.
But I mean, obviously getting it in place.
Right. So
Is there any, like they mentioned in the terms that the interest rate was good for a month from whenever this date was. But if we sign this, are we taking the money at the moment that we sign it?
Well, I think the point you're raising is we do want to time it not much earlier than when you need the money, because you're going to get the money when you sign this paperwork.
right.
Okay, so
It's
it's
not
not,
like
it's not a line of credit kind of
Correct,
thing. Right.
correct.
Okay,
They're going to issue the check at that time.
Right.
gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
So in terms of timing, then you want to target more towards the 1st of February or even subsequent?
I need to talk to Gina about
Okay.
our situation, where we stand right
Yeah.
now.
Well, so the date on this, which I'm assuming is the date that the interest rate is good through, is 12/29. So that would
Correct.
give us till the end of January.
End of January, right?
With a guaranteed rate. Now, that doesn't mean that the rate could change.
Correct.
If this rate were to change from 2.35%, then in the February meeting, we may have to redo this. You know, make
Right,
more
unless you
motion on it,
wanna-
Sign it by the end of January.
or you can
Yeah,
sign
but-
it by the end of January. Right. Either way. Okay, but it's a good point to bring up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean, if we think we're gonna need the money in February, then I would say sign it at the end of January.
Mhm.
If we think it's gonna be April or May, then why not wait a little bit?
Yeah, so it's,
We applied for our state money in July. And my contact from NBT tells me that he does these things all the time. And sometimes it takes a year from when you apply to when you get your money from Albany.
Mhm.
And my contact at Albany said, oh, it's out of my hands now. It's higher than me and it's running through the pipeline. So, Jeff, you know what that's like, right?
So I guess we're gonna, I mean, if the garage is done in the next 2 weeks, then we're gonna have all the bills to pay, right?
Right.
certainly, I would think within 30 days thereafter, they're gonna be payable.
Yeah, okay. So then it sounds like we should just go ahead and do it by the end of January.
Mhm. No, I'll talk to Jane about it too.
Right, so your determination may be that you might be able to postpone it another month.
It's possible. If Gina says we have plenty of money for right now, we're good for a few months, then as long as interest rates don't change,
Yeah, that would be
You know,
the balancing act.
that's the risk there.
Ask this fellow if it's gonna jump as of the 29th.
Yeah. So there's always interest rate risk
Yeah, I
on
mean,
these
the
things.
10-year note hasn't been moving. I mean, it's still, it's flat for the last 60 days. So,
So as we get closer to the end of the month, I'll take a look at this and maybe sign it on the last day or something. Yeah. Okay. Okay, moving on to with unfinished business, solar moratorium. Don, can you speak to us about that?
Yes, if you recall, at the last meeting, our action included referring the matter to county planning and setting it up for a public hearing for this evening. So you've had the public hearing. Checked with Dan Deneen. Our meeting was what, the 11th perhaps? They only meet once a month. I don't know. Did you guys have a meeting and do you know, Amy?
No,
Did
this
you-
submission was too late for
Yeah,
our meeting, so we didn't have a meeting.
So they like to have it at the beginning of the month to get it on that month's agenda. So we did not make the December agenda for their review. And the next planning board meeting is the 17th of January. We cannot enact this until they've reviewed it and we receive their recommendation. So you could, if you were really in a hurry, we could have a special board meeting following the 17th, 18th, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But if we don't hear of any project coming down the pike, you're probably certainly safe till February to enact it then.
Okay. Good.
So that's all that remains. You get
Mhm.
the recommendation from county planning and then you can adopt it at your February meeting
Okay.
if that's your choosing.
well, so related and kind of expanding on that though. So that, I mean, we started this process in September, so that puts us at enacting it 5 months after we felt we were going to enact it,
Mhm.
which means that the initial proposal was almost done, which means that we would expect that we would have the information we need to form a good law, hopefully coming up soon. So what's our plan for actually getting to the point where we have a good revised law? How's our committee coming?
Good.
What's
We're meeting on
specific-
Wednesday night.
Yep, okay.
Mhm.
And what's the timeline that the committee, whoever, I'm not sure, should respond? Amy obviously is the chair of the committee is here, but so what's our anticipated timeline for the availability of a new law? And then I mean,
Well, certainly within the
Like to suggest.
moratorium, certainly within 6 months.
right,
Hopefully by spring, right, Amy?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one good piece to the further delay is you don't start the 6 months till next month.
right.
Mhm.
So it gives a little bit more time
Yeah.
to try and get things together.
Mhm.
And you're right too. I mean, you need some time, the board needs some time. We have to go through a process to adopt
Right.
the local law once we get it. So,
Well, so I'd like to observe that when we did this in September, I mean, part of the pushback from everybody was that it felt that it was a surprise and that it was rushed. Kind of two things. It was like, hey, by the way, here's a law, vote on it tonight and pass it. You know, it's like, I didn't even have a chance to read it. So I'd like to really strongly encourage the committee to give us a proposed law draft, you know, well in advance of the first board meeting in which we want to discuss it. And then I'd like to also recommend that we have give the public a chance to review the law and have a public hearing so that people are feeling more involved and that it's a more transparent process. I mean, I'm sure that the people on the committee want that as well. So I'm just encouraging us to follow that sort of a timeline and have those expectations so that we don't have another.
6 months is not that long.
No, I know. Well, that's why I'm
Something
asking.
together and
That's why I'm
enacted. It's just
asking
not
about the
that
timeline.
long. You're absolutely right.
Okay. Jane, I don't have a sheet of the appointments. But I'll continue with new business here while you're looking for that. Monies received, we received $18,449.56 in sales tax. We received $741.92 from USPS. We received $12,045.45 from New York State Winter Recovery. We received $25,258.54 from New York State Chips. And we received $1,771.89 for nets. Thanks, Jim. We have another item in new business. Everybody got a copy of Donna Duty's letter and numbers from the previous year. And she needs to have us make a motion to approve her books, which were, I believe, here for the end of the year meeting. Yeah. So we need to make a motion that we approve her numbers.
All right, I move that we accept the statement on the account.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay. In January is our organizational meeting, and we run through all of the procedures. Well, not all the procedures the town has, but some of its relationships and contractors. And I'll start. This is for 2018. Town board meetings will be held throughout the year of 2018 at 7 p.m. on the second Monday of the month in the town hall of the town of Preble. Official newspaper, Cortland Standard. Official bank, NBT Bank. Attorneys, the firm of Pomeroy, Armstrong, Casulo, and Monte. Don Armstrong with the town board, ZBA, and planning boards. Utility bills will be paid in advance as necessary when the due date is before the regular town board meeting. Salaries, the town officials, and contracts as stated in the budget of 2018 will be paid monthly, semi-monthly, quarterly, and annually. Mileage for town business outside the town is 50 cents per mile. Review, investment, and procurement policy to remain the same. Town superintendent of highways is authorized to purchase equipment, tools, and implements during the year without prior approval of the town board in the amount of $2,500. Appointments, code enforcement officer Rick Fritz, deputy supervisor Linda Reelman, deputy highway Dale Mosier, deputy town clerk Elizabeth Pittman, bookkeeper Gina Norris, historian Ann Henderson, budget officer James Doring, registrar of vital statistics Jane Davenport, justice clerk Haley Duty Mertz, assessor William Barrett, dog control county Country Acres Animal Shelter Paul Burhans and Lindsay Anderson, Secretary of ZBA and Planning Board's Sue Wright. Planning Board, James Harris, has a 5-year term that will be renewed. ZBA, Nancy Daly and Dan O'Shea have 5-year terms up for renewal. Recreation Advisory Committee is Renee Compton, Kevin Kruger, Nancy Daly, Rick Burt, Tammy Fode, James Doring. We need to make a resolution to approve all of that. Okay.
I'll make a resolution that we approve the appointments as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, we're going to, I think first we'll approve the highway bills. We need to make a motion to, make a motion to pay the general fund vouchers first.
I'll make a motion to pay the general fund vouchers abstract number 1, numbers 1 to 15, totaling $17,733.15, and to pay the capital projects, building projects, abstract 1, number 16, totaling $1,153.45.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. We need a motion to pay the highway fund vouchers.
I'll make a motion to pay the highway fund vouchers abstract number 1, numbers 1 to 6, totaling $2,669.53.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. At this time, I'd like to open up our meeting for a public comment. Anybody who has any questions for the town board, questions or comments are welcome. Okay. Next item on our agenda tonight is executive session. We need to talk about a personnel issue. So if everybody would please leave the room until executive session is over, we would appreciate it.
I don't know if we'll have any planning board or ZBA this month either.